slow. Oh, there it is. This is my favorite part. This is the time where that live sign pops up at the top left, right up over there, my friends. We are live, baby. This is absolutely excellent. We have the first ever infraBUIDL grantee program roundtable today. We have an excellent show ready for you folks. I'm going to let the people stream on in. So I'm going to babble on a little bit about nonsense for a little bit just to let folks start to come on in so nobody misses all the alpha. Because trust me, my friends, we got major alpha to talk about. We got like so many different interesting topics. Let me actually kind of go over everything that we're going to talk about. So today we're going to explore Avalanche Foundation's infraBUIDL grant program and the innovative project it supports. They're, of course, driving critical infrastructure and growing our ecosystem. And so today we're going to feature a few of the grant recipients. We're going to feature Suzaku, Kurtosis, VIA Labs, as well as Union Labs. We'll dive into some of their different solutions, from decentralizing Avalanche L1s and streamlining developer tooling to enhancing cross-chain liquidity and interoperability. I'm your host. My name is Breevy, everybody. I'm social media manager for Ava Labs. I'm joined here by some absolute stars. We have Daniel here, program manager for the Avalanche Foundation. Say what's up, my friend.
Hey, Breevy.
Hey. Happy to have you here, dude. We also have Cletus, COO of VIA Labs. Say what's up, my friend.
Hello, everybody. What's up?
Hey, man. Excited to learn more about your project. As well as we have Karel, CEO of Union Labs. Say what's up, my friend.
What's up, my friends? How you guys doing?
We have Leo, CTO of Suzaku.
There it is.
Boom. You see it. You see it. And hopefully he's going to tell us where we can get these stickers from at some point in time in this show as well. And certainly we have Tedi here, software engineer of Kurtosis. Say what's up, my friend.
Hello. Happy to be here.
Hey, happy to have you, man. Thank all of you so much for coming today. I'm going to start this thing on off. I'm not going to tease the crowd too much. I see we got a few comments in here too. I see we got a Let's Go Daniel. We got a Let's Go Daniel in here. What's up, Crypto Quinn? Hello to you as well. So real quick, I'm just going to talk to the folks about how they could participate, and then we'll get this thing started. If you'd like to leave some questions, comments, all that kind of fun stuff, mess around with the peoples in the chat, make sure you just click on the actual stream itself, and then the chat box will pop up to the right, and then we'll be able to see all your nice comments and things, and then I could pop you up on the screen like this. See, pop you up on the screen. Bam. So appreciate y'all so much, all of my lovely audience, for popping on today. We have an excellent show in store for you folks. I'm going to start everything with my friend Daniel here. Daniel, can you actually kind of just dive into the infraBUIDL program a little bit more? Like, how did it start? What is it? What are you kind of looking for in projects?
Yeah, the infraBUIDL project is essentially a launchpad for infrastructure projects. So we are trying to give them, we give them a grant. We also give them marketing support. We help them raise if they are raising. We try to be, essentially, help these teams give their best. And the main goal of this program is to attract, top talent from anywhere to make Avalanche the best chain when it comes to tooling and infrastructure. Make sure, that vision of all L1s feeling like one is realized. That's essentially it. And the way this works is, it's open access. Anyone can just go online, submit a form. They don't need to know anyone specifically. It's not like, I know this guy who is going to introduce me to this person. It's just a form. And then the decision is also not taken individually. There is a committee. And that committee, soon you'll learn exactly who is on the committee, because it's going to get revealed. But essentially, we are integrating people from Ava Labs, from the foundation, but also from community builders, right? So because we also feel like the community has a say in where the chain is going and what projects get funded. And as iTunes, our CEO usually says, the ultimate shareholder here is the community, for the foundation at least. So I mean, that's infraBUIDL. And if you're a developer, it's just go to infraBUIDL.com and just apply from there.
So actually, you said something like super important. I love that you are bringing in the community on this as well, so that the community can have a say in which different projects actually kind of receive these grants and receive this help as well. Because the community should feel like they have a voice in this.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, no, I think there have been a lot of programs that we're trying to do the community more involved with.
Yeah.
One is the Retro 9000 program, where people vote based on, and they have a vote proportional to how active they've been on chain. There is the Gitcoin grants that we are doing with DeFi and gaming, where again, it's community who decides who gets the money. In the case of infraBUIDL, it's more curated, so it's like still experts, it's builders, but we are trying to introduce them in the decision making. People who are building on Avalanche and have a say in what gets built here and who gets support.
I absolutely love that, my friend. Can you talk a little bit about the criteria? Like, what are you looking for in a project when they apply?
I mean, obviously, the first thing that we look at is potential ability to execute, but we look at how aligned they are with Avalanche. Maybe the project is great, but they are not really doing that much for Avalanche, or maybe there is like a lot of they're not covering something that it has demand. So we want to see the project has potential, I think has potential, they are aligned with Avalanche, the ecosystem, the L1 roadmap, or are gonna bring very strong tooling to our developers. And we essentially want to see that just trying to make the chain a good place for developers and make sure they have all the tooling. And another thing that I will say is, if you're not an infrastructure builder, but you're an app, for example, who wants something to be built, or you feel like a tooling is missing, or you don't have what you need, or you feel like you don't have what you need, reach out to us, because we are also trying to matchmake, so to speak. If you're an L1 who has needs, and we'll try to find someone to build it for you, or at least we'll know, if a project comes, we'll have demand for that. So it's a bit for everyone, you could say.
See, and I think that's absolutely beautiful too. And I've been kind of doing these live streams, interviewing a bunch of different projects who have been kind of working with our team, and they've all had nothing but good things to say, specifically on that front, where it's like Daniel said, he's willing to kind of introduce people and intro people to kind of help with any sort of problems that they're kind of coming up with. And I think that's kind of an important ecosystem, like a specific kind of mindset of an ecosystem to build. And it's kind of good that coming from like the Avalanche Foundation itself all the way down to the builders, that you're thinking on that front, that we should be able to connect people as well to kind of help bring out solutions to any sort of problems that they're having. And I'm seeing that in the chat, folks are kind of asking, where can they go in order to, they'd like to speak with someone about Avalanche. It seems like you've already kind of let that secret go. So I'm going to just say, can you tell them one more time, where can folks apply for infraBUIDL? Yeah,
so they can just go to infraBUIDL.com, or the actual, let me see, avax.network-infraBUIDL also works.net.
Perfect. Yeah, because I'm seeing crypto Quinn. See, boom. You heard the answer, my friend. We got you. It's avax.network/infraBUIDL-program, my friend. Or yeah. So just head there, or feel free to DM me, and I'll make sure you get connected, my friend. So
essentially anyone can just apply. And I of course cannot promise that the application will be approved, but we will look at it.
Excellent.
It's a good way to get in touch.
Yeah. See, I love that there's a direct way for builders to actually kind of get in touch. as well. Frick on our DM at Breevy got wrecked, my friend. We got you at Breevy got wrecked. REKT for the wrecked. All right, my friends. Let's get this. Let's get this section. Let's head to the next section, my friends, and let's talk to these some of these innovative projects that we have coming up here. So we have Kurtosis here. We have our friend Tedi here from Kurtosis. I want to talk a little bit about what you folks are building. Can you just kind of give us a quick overview, and then we can dive in a little bit deeper from there?
Yeah. So I'll start by giving just a very brief introduction of myself and kind of how I came to Kurtosis, and kind of that'll get some context as well. So I started working on Kurtosis, the tool, while I was at Kurtosis Technologies for about 1.5 years. In May of 2024, Kurtosis Technologies actually completely open sourced Kurtosis, the tool, to work on other projects. And in January of 2025, I left Kurtosis Technologies as a company to kind of work full-time on Kurtosis, the tool, in a purely open source fashion. So right now, Kurtosis is a completely open source tool. There's a list of maintainers on it, and I'm one of them that's actively full-time contributing to the development of the project. And so what is Kurtosis actually? So I think if you're familiar with Docker Compose at all, the best kind of one-liner for Kurtosis is like, it's a Docker Compose, but way better for Web3 and Web3 use cases. If you're not familiar with Docker Compose, pretty much it's just a super easy way to get the environments that you need spun up locally on your machine so that you can quickly iterate, develop, onboard to whatever environment or infrastructure that you're testing with or need to work with. And yeah, so that's pretty much Kurtosis. I think we can kind of go from there. I'm happy to chat more about what it actually does and how it actually impact Avalanche. But
yes, that's so. Obviously, I am not a dev, so I would like to dive a little bit further into like some of the use cases. Like, how do devs actually use this? Try to ELI5 it for me a little bit.
Sure. Yeah. So Kurtosis is like similar to Docker Compose and these orchestration tools. Kurtosis has this engine, and it allows you to create packages, and this engine will run those packages. And so what's in a Kurtosis package? A Kurtosis package kind of defines all of the infrastructure and tooling that you might want from an environment so that you can get it spun up locally. So for example, with the Avalanche package specifically, which is what I'm actually building as a part of the infraBUIDL program, I'll be building a Kurtosis package that will allow you to spin up an Avalanche L1 with a certain amount of nodes that you can run locally. And it'll spin up the primary network with the X chain, the C chain, and the P chain, but then you can configure it to spin up an L1. Right now, it'll support subnet EVM L1s, but more support for other VM L1s can also be added to the package. And then on top of actually spinning up those chains locally, it has the options to set or spin up additional infrastructure such as faucets and interchain token transfer front ends and transaction spammers, so you can do testing. So you can get, just with a simple Kurtosis run Avalanche package and bypassing a configuration file, you can get different L1s spun up, and then you can get that additional infrastructure that you need to do your testing services. And one interesting part about this package is that in terms of like UX, is all the person who's running the package needs to do is provide this configuration file that will be documented of what things they can set, and then they will pass that into the engine with the package, and everything will get spun up. And so like another feature of this package, for example, is that you can spin up 2 L1s running locally, or a node network that is validating 2 L1s that are spun up locally. And then you can actually spin up, like if they're 2 subnet EVM L1s, an ERC20 token bridge that is kind of connecting these L1s and then transferred tokens between them, right? And that's all happening, like the Avalanche package is configuring that itself with Kurtosis, and you kind of don't need to set that up yourself, right? So hopefully it just makes it super easy to get infrastructure that you want running locally so that you can start iterating and testing as soon as possible. Yeah, and one other thing I'll add is like, getting into the difference between like Kurtosis and Docker Compose, and or even just like bash scripts that you would run to get your infrastructure run up locally, is that I think a huge difference between Web 2, traditional Web 2 and Web 3 is that, in Web 2 companies, all the infrastructure being built in-house, and you may have like a DevX team who's responsible for maintaining some Docker Composes or some scripts that then developers or users will use to kind of run the infrastructure that they need, right? But in Web 3, everything is being built completely out in the open source. And on top of that, everything is being, is depending on these open source things that are being built. So the need for actually making these interoperable and making it easier for other people to depend on what you're working on, or have them to spin up what you want, it's just very important for it to be easy to do that. And what Kurtosis offers is the ability to kind of package up your infrastructure and allow it to connect to other things. And that's actually one of the benefits of Kurtosis, actually, is it makes it easy to kind of compose these packages together. So yeah, just a little bit more about why Kurtosis it works really well in a Web3 environment.
Appreciate you so much for that, Teddy. Can we talk a little bit about like kind of the expected impact of Kurtosis? Like, Kurtosis is released. What happens in the Avalanche ecosystem because Kurtosis got released?
Sure. Yeah. So specifically, like, Kurtosis is a tool that's already open source, that's already available. But specifically, what we'll be releasing as a part of this infraBUIDL program is the Avalanche package. So users will, on a repository that holds this Avalanche package, users will be able to install Kurtosis and then run the Avalanche package to get Avalanche infrastructure running up locally. So kind of some of those things that I said earlier, L1s running locally, multiple L1s running locally with some of that additional infrastructure like faucets and block explorers, transaction spammers, etc. So once that Avalanche package is released, users and people in the Avalanche community will be able to hopefully easily get all that stuff running up locally. And kind of some of the impacts that I hope that this Avalanche package will have on the community is, first, I hope that it makes it a lot easier to onboard to the Avalanche ecosystem. I hope it's a way for, it can be used for people in hackathons to just like super quickly get an Avalanche environment spun up locally. Hopefully existing builders in the ecosystem who are already maybe building their own L1s or building tooling for L1s can use the Kurtosis package to get maybe their desired configuration run up locally. Maybe in order to do their testing workflow, they need to spin up 2 L1s and add some, more messaging between these L1s. Hopefully the Avalanche package can make that easier for them. So overall, I just hope that it really speeds up onboarding for the people trying to get onto the Avalanche ecosystem. And that's kind of what we've seen with the effect of other Kurtosis packages and other ecosystems as well. So I kind of want to bring that to the Avalanche ecosystem. And then another thing that I kind of already mentioned this, but another thing that I hope that it'll bring is for existing builders, if they want to hopefully speed up their development processes, it makes it faster for them. Hopefully they can use Kurtosis to do testing. And then the last thing that I kind of hope happens is that it kind of brings the Avalanche community closer in terms of the infrastructure aspects of the Avalanche community. I think something that we saw with the Ethereum package and the Ethereum ecosystem is that, when people had infrastructure that they were building on top of the Ethereum package or within the Ethereum ecosystem, they wanted other people to be able to run it. And so they would make pull requests to the Avalanche package to the Ethereum package that would make it easier to incorporate their infrastructure and then have people run it. So I kind of want to bring that kind of dynamic to the Avalanche community, where this Avalanche package will be this like central hub where if you want to allow other people to run your infrastructure, you can make a pull request to the Avalanche package, add your infrastructure into it, and then allow other people to easily run it as well. So one example of this, for example, is like, if you're right now, the Avalanche package will support spinning up subnet EVM L1s. But if you are an Avalanche L1 builder and you have a custom VM that you want to make easy for other people to run, you can make a PR to the Avalanche package, add support for your custom VM, and then give other people who are using the Avalanche package, give other people the ability to spin up your custom VM, right? So I just hope it kind of brings the Avalanche community closer in terms of that infrastructure perspective of tying in all these components that can be run and making it easy for other people to run as well. So, yeah.
Teddy, I absolutely love, especially that last point where you spoke about other folks kind of building on top of it and then kind of making it so, whatever it is that they need built can actually kind of get built on top of Kurtosis as well. So we can kind of slowly but surely start expanding the ease of building out infrastructure. I think that's super dope, man. Want to say really appreciate you for what you're building, my friend. And also, it looks like our friend Atlas also appreciates what you're building as well. Atlas says we'll make it easier for us for sure. So just wanted to show you that, my friend. So man, what you're building is great and it's needed, and we really appreciate you for it, my friend. Next up, we got our friends over at Via Labs. We have Cletus here. Say what's up, dude.
Hello, everybody. Hello. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, I can
Awesome.
hear you fine, my friend. Yes.
Awesome.
So I guess like let's just kind of hop straight up into this thing, man. Can you talk a little bit about what you're building over at VIA Labs and kind of like how you feel like it'll impact the ecosystem?
Yeah, absolutely.
Actually, sorry, Cletus. Sorry to stop
Sure.
you.
Yeah,
Can you
yeah.
talk a little bit about yourself really quick, how you kind of got to this point of building out VIA Labs, and then speak about it?
For sure.
Excellent.
So I'm Cletus. I manage the operations at VIA Labs. I've been at the team pretty much since the inception of the project about 3 years ago. Actually started off as a very avid community member, and then got more and more involved within the project, and kind of rose up to where I'm at today, where I manage the operations at the project. So VIA Labs, we started off as to solve the goal of cross-chain interoperability. And so what we do as a whole, as a company, is blockchain to blockchain communication to be able to solve that problem of chains not being connected, of generally just a fragmented ecosystem, and then being able to splice all those together so that developers, builders, dApps, blockchain foundations, L1s, whoever can have a seamless experience in blockchain. So that's what we're doing. That's our goal that we're setting out to solve. But today, I want to focus more on a product that we're building for the Avalanche ecosystem and utilizing many of the core primitives from Avalanche and actually from Circle as well, called Proto-USD. So that's kind of what I want to focus on today. But there's a lot going on with VIA Labs. So in general, we're general interoperability, but for Avalanche and for this and the product is Proto-USD.
All right, well let's dive in, my friend. What is Proto-USD?
Awesome. Yeah. So Proto-USD is a liquidity transfer mechanism, really, for L1s, for new Avalanche L1s to be able to seamlessly connect using USDC to all of the other L1s in the Avalanche ecosystem, and also to be able to source USDC to and from any other chain in the CCTP network. So to break that down a little bit, what that means is anyone who's a community member or anyone who's building a new Avalanche L1 can bring USDC in from other chains in the cross-chain transfer protocol network. So Ethereum, Polygon, Arbitrum, in the future Solana, all these other chains can now be able to source USDC from those networks into those specific Avalanche L1s. And the whole beauty behind it, kind of to break it down into its nitty gritty, is it's built using 3 core primitives. And the first one throughout the entire Avalanche ecosystem, this is ICM. So Proto-USD uses ICM underneath the hood to be able to use those messages from the ICM network to talk to smart contracts within that ecosystem. The other 2 core primitives are relating to Circle. So one of them is the bridged USDC standard, which is a tool that new blockchains can use to onboard USDC into their respective ecosystems so that they can be on an upgrade path to native USDC. It's the recommended way from Circle to be able to get native USDC issuance on your specific blockchain network. And lastly, it's CCTP, or cross-chain transfer protocol, which is another primitive by Circle that enables the burning and minting of native USDC from chain to chain. And essentially, this is the closest thing to native USDC on day one that blockchains within the Avalanche L1 ecosystem can get. And it also puts them on that upgrade path to be able to get that native USDC in the future for that intended upgrade. But essentially, it gives them everything that they would want, everything that they would need to be able to have that close of an experience for CCTP and for that general cross-chain interconnectivity with stablecoins on their network.
Can you talk to me a little bit about kind of the landscape prior to, let's say, CCTP, and then what kind of inspired you to then start building out Proto-USD?
Yeah, absolutely. So beforehand, you did have these 3 primitives, And so the ICM, CCTP, and the bridged USDC standard. But there was an issue with being able to have a full interconnected environment when you were a new L1 blockchain. So using the bridged USDC standard, you must source your USDC from only one other blockchain. And the reason why this is the case is because it maintains that one-to-one accounting. If you were to source it from multiple chains at once, this could be an issue, because it could, if you try to go from one chain and then out another, you might run out of USDC in a certain smart contract. So that's why they chose to only do it one-to-one. But that poses I don't say the problem, but that poses a limitation where what can happen is if a blockchain, let's say an Avalanche L1, they decide to pair with the main Avalanche C chain, or if they decide to pair with Ethereum, now their users can only source that USDC from that one chain. And that's quite, it's a little bit limiting, because what if I have USDC on Polygon? What if I have it on Solana? What if I have it on another chain that I want to be able to instantly go and tap into that new ecosystem and leverage the dApps products that are building in that Avalanche L1? So I would have to go and previously find another bridge or an aggregator, bridge it to whatever chain that they're connected to, and then be able to then make that hop for that one-to-one bridge into that new ecosystem. But instead, what ProtoUSD solves is it uses a multi-hopping mechanism where you can source that USDC from anywhere that's connected within that ecosystem, to be able to bridge that into your Avalanche L1 with one click. And behind the scenes, it does that multi-hopping using CCTP and ICM, so that it kind of abstracts all of that, all those issues, or all of that work, so that you don't have to worry about it either as a developer or as a general blockchain enjoyer.
All right, so that sounds like absolutely amazing, for one thing. Thank you for kind of going into like the landscape prior to, so we can kind of understand, why it is that we really, really actually need this. Like, I had no idea that, let's say if I was a new chain, that I can only source my USDC from one other chain. And so now I understand why this kind of hopping mechanism actually kind of makes sense. Can you talk a little bit about like the impact that you expect to have? For one thing, is ProtoUSD already released mainnet and everything?
Yeah, so there's like two versions of it essentially. There's the ProtoUSD, which it is live for mainnet right now, for all general chains, not including the Avalanche ICM network itself, but it does connect Avalanche, Ethereum, Polygon, Arbitrum, and some of these other new emerging blockchains that are outside of the Avalanche ecosystem. But specifically for Proto, we call it ProtoUSD for ICM. That's in testnet right now, and we're ready to onboard the next generation of L1s or existing L1s into that ecosystem today, right now, where they can get online on testnet to be able to try it out. And so currently we have it live, and it's interconnecting a couple of the Avalanche L1s, Dispatch and Echo, which are two example L1s that anyone can use that are permissionless. But for anyone who's interested, or anyone who's building on an L1 or any DAX, DApp product, whoever, that's interested in getting pure that upgrade path of USDC onto their network to be one, on an upgrade path, and two, be able to source USDC from anywhere, that's ready on testnet right now.
Excellent, man. Thank you so much, Cletus. Really, really appreciate you for kind of giving, like, for one thing, building the product that you are actually building, and then for two, being willing to come on here and kind of explain it to folks like me who have no idea what's going on. But
no problem. Yeah, I know it's like there's a lot of like sub steps in there. So if anyone has any questions in the audience as to how that works or any of that, I'd be happy to field those. But yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Hey man, it's no problem at all, my friend. We're gonna move on over to our friend Karel over here with Union Labs. Say what's up, my friend. Let's give you a little warm up for your voice. I know it's been a little minute.
Yeah, what's up again? Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Hey, no problem, man. Thank you so much for being willing to come on. So let's kind of dive in a little bit. Can you talk a little bit about what Union Labs is, and actually kind of give like a brief synopsis on yourself as well, kind of how you kind of got to start building?
Yeah, of course. So even though I'm the CEO at Union Labs, I've actually been a developer in crypto since 2016, approximately. So I've seen a lot of cycles come by. I have ridden my bags down again quite often. And I've been building for a long time in the space. I've seen a lot of the tech transform over time into kind of the final stages that we see right now. At Union, we do ZK-based interoperability, and that really derives from kind of my experience in crypto, where even quite early on, I believed it would be a world of many blockchains or subnets or L2s, whatever you kind of want to call it, but that most applications would be kind of their own environment, separate state machine. And in that world, obviously, bridging interop becomes extremely important as kind of a foundational layer. And I think we've actually seen that really happen, right? With Avalanche, we see this being massively successful. We see Ethereum's like L2 centric roadmap kind of mimic Avalanche. And I myself used to build in the Polkadot space, which also has that same philosophy for horizontally scaling out the network instead of scaling out vertically like Solana. Now, what we do with Union, what makes it special, is we don't rely on oracles or a multisig to do the bridging. Instead, we generate zero-knowledge proofs of various chains, and that powers the underlying interoperability. Now, that's a lot of fancy buzzwords, right? And you might think, okay, like another cool infra project, building something way too complex. But this is a really cool property. Normally, when you use like oracles to power your interop, it kind of means that you need to go to another chain and agree, like, who's going to run the oracle in between us, or you need to go to Circle and say, like, please support my chain and integrate them in like your oracle service. It's a very like human BD effort that you need to do, and it kind of makes scaling the number of chains that we have quite hard. Like, you can do this if there's 100 chains out there, but if we want to like create new chains for every single application out there, we don't want there to be like a 3-month to 6 months process where we agree on like who's going to run this Oracle multi-sig setup, who's taking custody, etc. Now, with the ZK tech that we have, teams never even need to speak to each other. You can basically deploy the contracts, you can start generating ZKPs, and so you might just see like a new integration pop up without you even knowing who's on the other side of this integration. And that's much more similar to, for example, how like Uniswap pools work, right? Like, I don't need to go to the Uniswap team to ask them, can I like deploy a pool and integrate it to my app? I just do it, right? I just call the smart contract functionality to instantiate a new pool and I'm done. Or same as with pump.fun. Like, you don't ask someone to create a meme coin, you just do it. And that's what we wanted for Interop as well, to be honest, to have that same very decentralized and permissionless characteristic to it. Now, the advantage of doing this too is it becomes incredibly secure, right? That's kind of an advantage of the permissionless nature too. So you don't have a risk that the Oracle or the multisig gets hacked and a hacker runs away with the funds, because there's no server anywhere that holds like private keys which can be hacked. Also means it's very resilient against, for example, governments, right? Like, if anyone were to tell me like, take Union down, stop the bridging, I would kind of have to tell them like, alas, I cannot, right? As long as someone is running a server and generating proofs, the system will keep on working. And we designed the system in a way to anticipate that. So people who generate proofs and who relay, they get the transaction fees. So basically, as long as there's users willing to pay for the service, sending a transaction fee, there will always be a developer out there somewhere, someone willing to basically boot up a server and start generating proofs. So it has that like really resilient Web3 characteristic that we wanted to have in the interop layer. Because personally, I kind of saw like, we all built so many blockchains, and then to be honest, we kind of connected them with relatively centralized services. And I personally never liked that. All those years that we spent on doing like really fundamental work to then in the end kind of like take the easy route and run a 2 out of 3 multi-sig bridge. So that was really the objective with Union for us to build this out and connect Avalanche as well. So with us, we had the challenge of like integrating the P chain and also the new consensus changes that were added, because obviously like we ideally don't want to only support the public chains. If this technology can support private chains as well, that's even better, right? because they can still have like fully secure access to private ecosystems, even though the chain itself might have like its own validator set. So it's kind of another power of the ZK tech.
So actually, if you could, can you dive a little bit farther into ZK tech, what it is, and like why it's so important?
Yeah. So for a layman, kind of with zero knowledge cryptography, what you can do is you rewrite a program in a specific domain-specific language. We call those quite often circuits. And that program that can do like a lot of computation, like for example, verify 10,000 signatures in that program. And in the end, the program produces a proof. Verifying the proof always has the same cost on chain. So it doesn't matter if my program internally verifies 3,000 signatures, 10,000, or 1,000,000. The verification after I've generated the proof will always be the same amount of gas. And so this is an extremely nice property to have, because doing anything on chain is expensive. Doing stuff off chain is cheap. So instead of having all Ethereum validators verify 1,000 signatures, it's much cheaper to do it once off chain and then verify that zero knowledge proof. And so we use it for like scaling compute, basically, because trustless bridging at its root is a shit ton of cryptography that you're doing, just a lot of computation. So you could code this out into smart contracts yourself, and just run this like in Solidity or in Rust on chain, but it would just cost a tremendous amount of gas, so much that users would not want to use it. So we offload all of this computation to our circuits, and then we just verify these proofs on chain. And that's kind of the fundamental like thesis behind ZK bridging, which is, to be honest, very similar to zero knowledge rollups, right? Where you almost do the same too, where you kind of think like, well, running these transactions on chain itself is very expensive. So how about we run them all on just a single node, and then we generate an execution proof for it. So ZK bridging basically does the same.
That's actually that's a perfect explanation. Thank you so much for that. that really hit it on the head, dude. Can you actually talk a little bit about some of the use cases for kind of ZK proofs?
So outside of bridging, like basically all types of computation, really cool use case you see nowadays is ZK TLS as well, where you can basically bring data from Web2 APIs on chain without needing oracles at all. So you don't need to get chainlink support. You can just have any URL out there that has HTTPS support, has certificates with it. It can generate proofs for the data coming there. That's a really cool one. On our end, within the interop, so obviously it's a security portion, we will also get a really nice scaling portion to this too. Because if we have, like, let's say, transfers coming in from 3 different chains, from Movement Labs, from Osmosis, and from Ethereum into an Avalanche subnet, we can aggregate that into a single ZKP. So it has the same cost. So the ZK portion, basically, the more transfers are ongoing and the more change you have in the network, the cheaper it gets per transfer. Technically, the cost stays exactly the same. So you have constant cost, increasing number of transfers. So cost per transfer tends to go down. So that's a really nice property of ZK tech in general. And that's what you see out there. And that's why it's becoming so popular on the back end. And we see it with proof of humanity as well, which are kind of exactly the same. And there's a privacy component to it as well. Obviously, if you want to do proof of humanity, you kind of use ZK as well to keep secret what the personal data is, but still show that you have a proof of personal data. For me, what excites me a lot right now is kind of using ZK to connect chains to private environments. So this idea that we don't just randomly trust TradFi, but that we still can give like on-chain protocols access to certain TradFi products by generating ZKPs. I think that's going to be like a very big booming sector, because it will allow smart contracts to basically achieve the same that Athena has achieved, right? DeFi in the front, TradFi in the back, like making that connection. And if we can do that like in a secure cryptographic way, that's probably the best of all worlds.
Dude, I really appreciate you for all of this, my friend. Like going through all that, like I tried researching into ZK and I got wildly confused, my friend. But like you really broke it down so that I feel like even I can understand, and like I feel like the audience out there will appreciate it as well. So just wanted to say, man, thank you so much.
No worries. Thanks for letting me explain it.
Hey, no problem at all, dude. All right, my friends, last but certainly not least, we have my friend Leo here.
Someone has to be last, right?
We have my friend Leo here from Suzaku. Say what's up, my friend. I'm going to let you warm your voice up a little bit.
Yeah, all good, all good, all good.
Can you kind of just give us an overview of what you built over at Suzaku, as well as talk a little bit about yourself and how you kind of got to this point?
Yeah, so I'm Leo. I'm a co-founder of Suzaku. I've been building in the Web3 space and especially Avalanche since for a while now since 2021. So funny story, I went to the first Avalanche Summit wearing the OG sweater at the moment, by the way, and so there we participated in the hackathon with Gauthier, which is my co-founder, and this is basically the time where we decided we wanted to jump full time in this space, And so we've been building a bunch of stuff since in the Avalanche space, almost since the Avalanche mainnet went live. And right now we're building Suzaku. So Suzaku is a decentralized hub for Avalanche L1s. And so essentially what we are doing is connecting Avalanche L1s to quality node operators and stakers. So effectively, Suzaku is a marketplace bringing together three types of actors. So the first one is Avalanche L1s that are looking to decentralize the network. The second group is node operators that are already running infrastructure and want to maximize the yield and return that they get on this infrastructure. And the third and final group is stakers and restakers, which have assets that for some of them they're already staking, and same as the operators, they want to maximize their yield on this. And so with Suzaku, we are bringing all these people together. And you guys are probably familiar with the big Avalanche upgrade that went live on mainnet last year, Avalanche 9000. This upgrade made it easier and cheaper to run Avalanche L1s. And so with Suzaku, we are making this easier and more secure for these L1s to properly decentralize.
So we have a lot of different ways that we can kind of go with this conversation. There's one specific thing that I really kind of want us to talk about so I can make sure our audience has like a very clear understanding. Can you talk a little bit about the restaking industry, as well as kind of like maybe give a little bit of history, like how did this kind of thing pop up, and then why is it important to like a healthy ecosystem?
Yeah. So maybe before I bring up restaking, I can go through what is the process of launching when you're a proof of stake L1. So if you want to launch a new L1, whether it's an Avalanche L1 or basically any blockchain that uses a proof of stake as a security mechanism, when you launch your L1, probably you will have your own native token, right? And in the beginning, your native token is kind of volatile because obviously it's not an established project yet. And so if you're relying 100% on your own token for the security of your network, you might be exposed to a problem that is called the early death spiral. And so basically what could happen is that with a sudden price decrease in your L1 native token, obviously the security of your whole network weakens, right? And so this can make the users of your chain kind of panic. They want to withdraw their assets. They want to leave your chain as soon as possible. And in return, this trivial drop will make your L1 native token price go even lower. And that's the early death spiral, And so on the other side, with the concept of shared security and most particularly restaking, that has been popularized by Eigenlayer on the Ethereum network. Restaking allows for proof of stake chains, like an Avalanche L1, for example, to leverage the crypto economic security of a bigger, more established proof of stake network, like the Avalanche primary network or like Ethereum. And this has two advantages because when you do that, you have more crypto economic security for your network, since you are not entirely relying on on your own native token for security. And also, there's something that's super important especially for new up and coming Avalanche L1s. If you want to attract validators, at first you if you are only using your own native token for crypto economic security, you will have to emit a lot of tokens as reward, right? Because like I mentioned, a new token for a new L1 is kind of volatile, and so you want these people to feel that they're earning some money on it, you know. And if they only have 2 to 3% APY, that's not going to be enough for them. And so what you might want to do as an L1 is to have double digits rewards. And essentially this will create a lot of sell pressure on your token if you do that. And restaking also helps you to emit lower rewards, because since you are leveraging security from the network and from assets that are already earning yield, for example, AVAX with liquid staked AVAX, you can only emit just a couple percent APY on top of this. Since these guys are already earning AVAX rewards, they will be happy to have a bit more, say 4 to 5% APY in an L1 native token. And so this helps you, in a nutshell, restaking, it helps you avoid this early death spiral problem that I mentioned, have more crypto economic security, and also less token dilution when it comes to yield and rewarding the validators.
Oh, that seems like extremely important, actually, for like a healthy ecosystem. I'm super happy that you kind of went over that, so we can really, really understand like the importance of what you're building over at Suzaku. Can you dive into a little bit about, you know, where you kind of see your vision going for Suzaku, like for the future?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so maybe I can go through what we have live now. So if you go to app.suzaku.network, you will find our restaking dApp, enabling anyone to stake or restake assets so that they can be used later for crypto economic security. At this point, we have like 6 million TVL, and so it's important to say that these assets, for now, we accept SAVAX and GGAVAX, which are the two biggest liquid staking protocol on the AVAX ecosystem, as well as BTCB and AUSD, stablecoin from Agora. These are the assets that you can deposit today. It's important to mention that for now, these assets are not effectively being used to secure Avalanche L1s, because we have not launched that part of the protocol yet. So for now, what we have basically is a points campaign. So the more you deposit assets and the longer you do, the more Suzaku points you earn, which is already pretty cool. And so what we'll have soon is the next phase of the protocol, which we will be launching during Q2, is to actually use these assets to participate in the crypto economic securitization of Avalanche L1s. And so, like I mentioned, this will be later this year.
Awesome, Leo. Appreciate you so much too, as well. Oh, actually, real quick, can you tell folks how they can get involved? Like just like what the website is?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the restaking app for asset deposits can be found at app.suzaku.network. But it's also super important to mention that Suzaku is an entirely permissionless protocol. So if you want to get involved as a staker or restaker, you can already do so on our dApp. But when we launch on mainnet, actually becoming a Suzaku L1, meaning that you want to get access to these assets for crypto economic security, is entirely permissionless, as well as registering as a node operator. Say you are already validating the AVAX primary network, and you are eager to put your hardware to work to validate more L1s to decentralize the L1 and participate in the L1 ecosystem while earning more yield in the form of L1 native token rewards. Again, this is totally permissionless, and you can do so through our protocol. I also want to mention that we have some exciting DeFi integration that have went live recently. For example, our friends over at YieldYak have released LRT, so liquid restaking tokens on top of Suzaku. RSAVAX is one of them, RGGAVAX is another one. And basically what they'll be doing with these is take the role of what we call the curator inside the Suzaku ecosystem, which would be to take the assets from the depositor and delegate it to the actual operators that will validate the L1s. And so this is super important, and we're super happy that YieldJack has stepped in to do that. Some other integration that went live as well is with StableJack. They have released this protocol where you can actually trade between the yield from the restaked AVAX and the points and future yield that you will receive. That's a super integration as well, and we're really excited to have those guys build it.
That's a really cool integration. Just to make sure I understood that, can you explain it one more time? Like this? Yeah, please.
StableJack?
Yeah, StableJack.
Yeah. So with the RS AVAX, the restaked AVAX that is being emitted by YieldJack, you will be earning both the rewards from the Avalanche primary network validation, so basically like SAVAX or GGAVAX, and the rewards that come from using these assets to secure and validate Avalanche L1s. And with StableJack, what you can do is actually split this token in two and choose whether you want to be more exposed to the yield coming from the Avalanche primary network validation, or the yield that comes from the L1 validation. And so eventually this creates a market where people can trade on whether they want to be more exposed to, right now it's points, and in the future it will be L1 yield, or to native AVAX yield from the primary network validation.
Oh, that's so cool. Oh, that's super cool. That's released currently, or is that being built?
It is live already at StableJack v2.
Oh, that's super cool. Thank you so much for letting everybody know about that one, especially me. I'm gonna now open things up a little bit for just a quick discussion. I know we got like 10 minutes left, my friends. If we can we just talk a little bit about like your folks' experience kind of working with the Avalanche Foundation? I'm gonna pick on Cletus first, but anyone else after, please feel free to jump in. Cletus, you have the floor, my friend.
Awesome. Yeah. So working with the Avalanche Foundation, and in my personal opinion, has been the best experience that we've had. And I'm not just saying that because I'm on the Avalanche space right now, but because I mean, sure, I do have an incentive to say that. But no, in all seriousness, though, it has been a fantastic experience so far. From day one with working with the foundation all the way up until today, and I can see us, having a great relationship in the future as well. It's been the most seamless experience that we've had. There's been great support as well. So, for example, if we need to be connected with somebody and we're saying, hey, well, there's maybe another project within the Avalanche ecosystem that that we'd like to be connected to, would you mind making that connection, or just kind of introduce us? The Avalanche Foundation is there to support, and it's incredibly supportive of that, and on a technology level as well. So when we were first integrating ProtoUSD, we had a couple tech questions with setting up different Avalanche subnets, and maybe this is something that we can talk to the guys over at Kurtosis about, but as well. But the Avalanche or Ava Labs themselves helped with that too. So we were able to get all of the support that we needed from both Avalanche and Ava Labs. So it's been a great experience.
That's a blessing that you've had such a great experience like that, Cletus, as well. And, we can all be put in a position to where, there's somewhere you can go to where you can actually get help, mentorship, the ability to kind of hop in a meeting, ask somebody some questions. Because, at the end of the day, and hats off to everybody who's, in this panel right now, you guys are building something that, doesn't even exist yet, right? So of course there are going to be, obstacles that come your way. And it's beautiful that, that somebody can kind of be there for you when those obstacles do come your way. I'm going to pick on you now, Tedi. You ready? How's your experience?
Yeah, for sure. Props to what Cletus was saying. I've also had a great experience, and hey, maybe we should make that. Maybe we should make another connection and talk about Kurtosis and Cletus together after this call.
Absolutely,
yeah. I think earlier I talked about the kind of the impact that I want Kurtosis to have on the Avalanche ecosystem, but like goes without saying, I think the entire Avalanche ecosystem has had a huge impact on Kurtosis from its inception. Actually, I think a little piece of history that not many people may know is that Kurtosis was actually started from an earlier pre-mainnet grant from Avalanche. So like, Kurtosis wouldn't even be around if it wasn't for the Avalanche ecosystem. And then from a very personal perspective, Leo, you mentioned going to the Avalanche Summit in Barcelona. I was actually also there in 2022, and that's where I actually met the Kurtosis team for the first time, which led to me interning there and actually working on the project and kind of bringing it back today with the infraBUIDL program. First of all, the funding from the program is immense for me because it helped me make the jump to actually working on Kurtosis full time in an open source fashion. So thank you to the Avalanche Foundation for that support. And then specifically with the the logistics and everything, very smooth. Daniel, great working with you. You're very quick to communicate. The process was very seamless. I could go from the application to then working on the project very quickly. So that entire experience has been great. So yeah, hats off to the Avalanche Foundation. You guys are doing a great job at supporting the community.
Oh, this is so beautiful, man. I love this so much. Okay, we're coming up at time here, and I don't want us to go over too much. If we can I'm going to go through everybody. If you folks can just give everyone your Twitter socials so that everyone can follow you. I'm also going to put these down here as well, this little scrolling ticker. Leo, I'm going to pick on you first. Can you tell everyone where to follow you folks at?
Yeah, so for the project, it's Suzaku Network, and myself, it's Leo Paul 36. I have a nice like old school tuxedo profile picture from the early Linux days with a PSG jersey representing my city and my team. So yeah, that's where you can find me.
Thank you so much, Leo. Karel, you're up, my friend. Can you just tell folks where they can follow you at? Well, and Union?
Yeah, follow me at 0x_Karel or Union at Union_build. I do all of my thinking and ranting on Twitter. So if you want to know the latest on us, check the TL.
Thank you so much, Karel. Next up, we got my friend Tedi. Can you let folks know where they can follow Kurtosis and yourself at?
Yeah. So you can follow Kurtosis and updates with the open source tool and the project and the community at Kurtosis Tech. That Twitter handle is actually on the bottom of the stream right now. For me personally, one of the open source maintainers of Kurtosis Tech, you can follow me on X at DrosMitiku, DrosMitiku at DrosMitiku. Yeah, I'll be public there. I post stuff about Kurtosis and then myself as well. So yeah, feel free to give me a follow.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Tedi. Last but certainly not least, we have Cletus. Well, technically not last because we have myself and Daniel as well. But Cletus, can you let folks know where they could follow you as well as VIA Labs?
Yeah. So follow us on X or Twitter, and it's also in that banner at VIA_labs. If you have any dev questions or any of that, we're also happy to help in Discord as well. Everything can be found from our main X account. So just make it easy. Go there, check us out, and we can help you from there.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Cletus. And Daniel, can you let folks know where they can follow yourself as well as the Avalanche Foundation?
Of course. I mean, I'm not sure if there's a lot of interest in following me, but my Twitter is at Dorlands, and you can follow the Avalanche Foundation. And please do follow the Avalanche Foundation. No need to follow me, but the foundation, please do so at Avalanche FDN.
Perfect, man. Thank you so much, Daniel, for all your hard work with all of these lovely folks right here building some absolutely innovative projects. You seem to be doing a good job, my friend. Let's go. I love it, dude. I love this, man. I love hearing folks that are just super happy about building on top of Avalanche, man. Like this is absolutely huge. And for everyone out there, if you'd like to follow me, you can follow me at Breevi.rekt, and rekt is spelled REKT. And then as well, I got the thing scrolling down there at the bottom. So make sure you follow AVAX, Avalanche Foundation, VIA Labs, Union, Suzaku, as well as Kurtosis. And I'm going to give you folks a little bit of a tip. Bell notifications. Now, for everyone out there, man, bell notifications make sure that anytime they post, you get a notification for it so you don't miss any of the alpha that's going to be coming up, my friends. Thank you so much to all the audience out there for popping on today. Thank you to my lovely panel of speakers here as well for popping on today. I'm going to end this thing in my usual way, and that is by saying you don't have to go home, but you got to get up on out of here, y'all. Peace. Yes.